Hello friends, how are you? Hope all of you are studying well. Friends, welcome to yet another session on essay perspectives. Topic for today is capitalism without competition is not capitalism, it is exploitation. Friends, as always at the outset, I just want to make a personal appeal. My book on ethics has been pirated and the pirated copy is of very low quality. So hence I request the aspirants to buy only original copy. The original book can be bought from the seller affordable on Amazon and the seller Arvind Books on Flipkart. Okay friends, as I have told you in my previous videos also, every topic, essay topic shall be rephrased to make it look like an analytical topic so that your essay automatically becomes analytical. Friends, in earlier topics normally we used to question whether that statement is true or not, whether that is possible or not. But in this statement, capitalism without competition is exploitation, it is as good as an universal truth. Capitalism without competition is definitely exploitation. Thus, if you have to take that stand, you have to just substantiate that statement stating how competition helps make capitalism less exploitative. Okay, but however, that will be just like a unidimensional essay which will not look like analytical. It is just a justification of the statement given, which is actually very much counterproductive. Hence, friends, so this essay needs to be made analytical by considering it from an altogether different perspective. That altogether different perspective for this topic could be: one is capitalism with competition necessarily non-exploitative? That means I have to explore in this essay if just that element of competition is introduced into the capitalism, will that totally wipe out exploitation from the system? That is one exploration that I can make in this essay. The second exploration is mere competition enough to make capitalism non-exploitative? That means, can I confidently say it is with only competition will I be able to make the system non-exploitative? So these are the two flag posts or goal posts towards which I have to steer my essay discussion to arrive at a meaningful conclusion. If I start exploring this essay from these two perspectives, then my essay becomes analytical. Otherwise, the essay becomes monologue, unidimensional, or it will just end up as substantiation or justification to the topic given, which is unlikely to fetch above average marks. As always, friends, the components for this essay is: first is we go with introduction, then we explore the terms capitalism, competition, exploitation. We will also explore the relationship amongst them. Then we will discuss about the merits of competition in capitalism, as to what how will competition help capitalism in reducing exploitation. Next we will discuss about unfair competition, then inherent exploitation that is already that's necessarily present in any capitalist system. Then we will discuss about the policy interventions to address this unfair competition and inherent exploitation. Then we would arrive at conclusion. This is the broad structure of this essay. Friends, here before I proceed, I just want to tell you, see friends, it is very important to decide upon the conclusion clearly before starting the introduction. I think I have already mentioned this in the previous video. I just want to reinforce that point to you. First, be thorough with how would you wish to conclude the essay. Then only if you are sure as to how you will conclude the essay, then it becomes easy for you to build essay in such a way that it would logically conclude in the fashion which you desire. Okay friends, now first introduction. So friends, I have always thought the best example for this is Indian telecom sector. So first one, there was, go back to the old days of BSNL landline. So where for getting one telephone connection, a customer had to apply and wait for years. And the call tariff also was very high. But now juxtapose the same thing against the present scenario. I have just mentioned the name Jio, but it is not necessarily Jio. Present scenario mobile telephony mein, you want a SIM, you just get it over the counter. You need not have to pay any advance. The call tariffs also have become dirt cheap, and also the data services are also available. So thus earlier during the BSNL regime, it was monopoly. There was no competition. Thus customers were exploited through high prices and substandard services. Now the present day telephony need not be Jio, friends. I have just given it that example because Jio is normally equated with better services at lower prices. So I have just written Jio. Just present day mobile telephony mein high services at lower prices. Why has this been possible, friends? Because of competition. Because of competition in the telecom sector, there has been a competition amongst the players to garner more and more customer base. So they can garner more and more customer base only through slashing the prices and offering very high quality, high premium services at a very cheap price. So juxtaposing these two examples, on the face of it, prima facie, it appears that competition would help capitalism reduce exploitation. However, so we need to explore in this essay, we need to explore whether this is true for all the services, for all the sectors, or are there any lacunas involved in the capitalism itself. So then, friends, you can, as I told you in the previous video also, you can very well specifically mention the structure of the essay in one para so that it becomes clear for the evaluator. It will act like a guiding light for the evaluator as to how the essay will take its course. Okay, friends, now here it is our responsibility. We have to discuss about the meanings of capitalism, competition and exploitation. Friends, all of you know what is capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system where means of production and distribution are owned by the private sector. Okay, so and what is competition, friends? Competition refers to all the efforts put by any business player in the market in order to outperform his or her rivals in terms of garnering more profit, more customer base, and so on so forth. Then what is exploitation, friends? So exploitation actually means deliberate act of any business player to deprive either the customer or the employee of his or her due share. That means if a business player is depriving the right of customer to high standard services at lower price, or if a business player he is depriving an employee of his rightful wages, or an employee is extracting more work for less wages, then that act can be termed as exploitation. So thus, friends, now after getting to know the meaning of capitalism, competition and exploitation, it becomes extremely important for all of us to explore the relationship amongst all the three. Friends, now we know what is capitalism. Basically, capitalism is where every individual is free to own means of production. Okay. Let us first think about a monopolistic scenario where only single individual is allowed to own means of production. Say only one person can own, say, car manufacturing unit. Then since there is only one person, the customers do not have any choice. Whoever needs car have to either buy from him or have to forego their ambition to own a car. Thus whatever price this fellow quotes, then the customers are forced to buy. Thus he can very well sell a car whose worth is only, say, 8 lakhs for 20 lakhs. Customers are forced to purchase. Then at the same time there are some mechanical engineers or automobile engineers. they have to necessarily get themselves employed only in this factory. Thus, even though that fellow extracts more work from them, he will end up paying very less money, less wages, less salary to them. So, in the process, by rising the prices, at the same time reducing the wages, he will anyway increase his profit margin. This is what happens in a monopolistic scenario. So since capitalism, the fundamental and the final objective of capitalism is profit maximization. Thus, by selling commodities at higher prices and by reducing the wages, they can very well maximize the profit. So thus the objective of capitalism gets achieved. However, now this is very exploitative, right? Now let us take the scenario of 3 or 4 individuals owning the car factory. Then when there are more individuals owning the car factory, then the choice expands for both employees as well as customers. So the customers would go and purchase only those products which are better and which are relatively less priced. This is a consumer psychology. So thus, when there is capitalism, then there is disincentive on the part of every capitalist to disincentive on the part of every capitalist to not to hike the prices. Okay, otherwise he would hike the prices or lower the wages as he or she wishes. Thus, competition seeks to condition the profit maximization motive of capitalism such that that motive will not lead to exploitation of both customers as well as say employees. So thus this is how you have to necessarily establish the relationship, explore the relationship amongst these 3 terms. It is important, friends. This is where your conceptual clarity. Of course, you may so many of you may think, sir, this is very simple. Why should we write? It may be simple, but it is important to write. Even if you can write 2-3 paragraphs, then it actually gives proper clarity to the evaluator also, that you know the concept better. Don't try to assume anything in essay. Okay. Now, friends, the next topic, next component is capitalism without competition, merits of competition. That's whatever I explained in the previous thing by establishing the relationship amongst these 3 things, the same has to be elaborated extensively in order to substantiate or in order to justify the statement that it is necessary for a capitalist economy to have competition in order to remain non-exploitative. So first thing is lower prices. Friends, the best example is prices of mobile phones and even TVs for that matter. Go back to the good old days, friends, when we were, when there was only Nokia in the market. Later Sony Ericsson and Motorola came. Even basic Nokia version used to cost say 4,000 to 5,000. Okay, but what is the scenario today? Even the best of the mobiles you can get, smartphones also you can get around say 10,000. So thus the prices of, do you not think the prices of the mobile phones have fallen? In terms of real value of money, they have fallen drastically. Even in terms of nominal value also they have fallen. If I recollect correctly, Nokia 6600 used to cost some 12,000. Today for 12,000 you will get one of the best smartphones in the market. Same is the case with TVs also. Earlier, when there was only Dianora or BPL or Bush for that matter, even black and white TVs, in terms of real value, they used to cost more than the value of a very good smart color TV today in terms of real value, friends. So thus the competition would necessarily help slash prices. Next is better wages. So increased wages in the MNCs is the best example. So we see in MNCs, since there is competition in that capitalistic software market, so we see so many software IT professionals switch from company A to company B every say 2 years or 3 years by taking say 30 to 40% hike. So thus the wages are getting increased because of competition. Or otherwise, let us say there was only one company and there was no competition, there were no alternatives, then the employee had to work there only. Next, better products. Friends, earlier there was Nokia. Now we have come to the stage where we have got OnePlus, Xiaomi. There are so many companies, mobile companies have come, and they are offering better products, better mobile phone to the customers, both in terms of features, battery backup, so functionalities, apps, etc., etc., etc. Then better customer service. So friends, now in order to get themselves differentiated from their competitors, they start offering better services. Citibank's doorstep banking services is the best example. Earlier you had to go to bank, but today for so many reasons, even the doorstep banking services have been operationalized by banks like Citi and all. So thus better customer services get offered. Then innovation, friends. See, the single most thought in the mind of every capitalist in a competitive market is to outperform his or her counterparts. This outperforming shall happen only by constantly becoming better. How do you get better? By constant innovation. So the best example is calcium sandose packaging. So earlier when the calcium sandose came, that innovative packaging caught the attention of the children and it became an instant hit in relation to its competitors. That was only because of innovation. Similarly, take the example of Classmate notebook. Classmate notebook innovated in terms of incorporating the sense of social responsibility in the buyers. And Classmate notebooks proudly claims for every notebook bought, so many children get educated, or so much of amount get contributed towards the education of children, poor children. Then actually that itself acts as a motivation. Thus these type of innovative marketing techniques, innovative pricing techniques, innovative packaging techniques, innovative production techniques are possible only in competitive market. Otherwise there will be dull moments, there will not be much of the investment in research and development. Then friends, having said this, here it is very important. Hitherto you have just explained as to you have just justified the statement, substantiated the statement. Here it is important for you to hold on, take a U-turn, slight U-turn, so that your essay becomes analytical. Now, what if the competition is unfair? See, having written all those things, you can very well written from the above. Prima facie, it becomes clear that competition helps a capitalism reduce exploitation. But however, this should not lead us to conclude that the capitalism with competition is panacea for all the evils of economic systems. So thus there are, now let us explore some lacunas, some shortfalls that are plaguing even in capitalism with competition system. Okay, so thus the first such thing is, what if competition is unfair? We have all spoken about competition, but that competition can be unfair also, right? It need not be fair competition. Because of this unfair competition, again it indirectly leads to exploitation. Friends, first the best example is loss leadership strategy that is being employed by most of the businesses. So what is this loss leadership strategy? A new player enters into the market, or a old player, whoever it is, they decide to start selling their products at loss. What is meant by selling at loss? That means no other competitor can sell the products at the rate at which you are selling. Once such, I mean, the products, the rates become so less, all the customer base gets diverted and gravitated towards this, the company that is selling at the dirt cheap price. So in the process, the competitors who cannot afford to sell the products at such lower prices get vanished. Once they get vanished, then the person who employed, the company that employed the business loss leadership strategy will start exploiting the public. Then there is no competition. Whatever competition that was there, they have been successful in wiping it out by selling it at loss. Now they have a free run. They can sell it at whatever price they want. They can offer whatever quality product is possible. So thus, even unfair competition in the form of loss leadership strategy, though it appears to ameliorate the problem of exploitation in the short run, it will lead to exploitation in the long run. And the next one is negative propaganda of others. Unfair competition, like one of the unfair practices of unfair competition is to start negative propaganda about the opponent or the competitor. Thus, in the process, misguide the customers and ensure that they purchase only your product, not the customer, not the product of your competitor. So, friends, in a way, this is also in a way exploiting the customers only, because you are killing their right to choice, you are killing their right to information, you are killing their right to the product of their choice. Then the best example is Times of India and the Hindu. If you recollect, about some 6-7 years back, both Times of India and the Hindu, they involved in what I must say, I may call it an ad war, advertisement war. So initially, Times of India started promoting that Hindu is a newspaper that makes people to sleep, keeps people to sleep. Then immediately, Hindu hits back and says that, indirectly hits back and says that Times of India is a newspaper which talks about all celebrities and other unimportant things, but while conveniently pushing aside important national issues. I mean, all of you must, I presume you are aware of those ads. So by doing so, you are unnecessarily confusing the customers, and such confusion of the customer is nothing but the exploitation, right? You are considering them to be so naive and gullible, and you are misleading them to the product of your choice, your product, which need not be good, which need not be appropriate for them. Then copyright infringement. Friends, you must be aware of the lawsuits between Apple and Samsung, where Apple has sued Samsung for infringing into the design, its design patent of mobiles as well as smartphones. That example aside, not getting into the merits of the case, thus, so the unfair competition through such copyright infringement will definitely kill the incentive for innovation amongst the competitive players in a capitalist market, among capitalist players in the competitive market. Then in the long run, thus finally the players do not innovate. When they do not innovate, finally customers don't get what they are entitled to get. Next, false advertising. Friends, this is similar to the negative propaganda that I have said, but in the negative propaganda I was talking about maligning the opponent, but in the false advertising I want to tell you false claims about one's own product, stating that, let us say some yogurt, you are a manufacturer, you are a seller of yogurt, and you say that your yogurt has so many bacterial, so many ingredients that will give you so much strength, etc., which need not be true. So thus, is it not exploitation, friends? The customer who would have very well used that money for something of his choice, something of his need, he is forced to invest money in your product, believing your false claims. Is it not exploitation? It is exploitation. Then weakening the competitors. So many unscrupulous methods are employed in order to weaken the competitors. The classic case is so many times the competition among educational institutions, especially in some of the states actually where one or two colleges are extremely popular. They always want to get the state ranks. They would try to poach the students, bright students of the other institutes. They would say that, "Arey, you come and get admitted to our school, you will be given this much of money. Just join our school, you will be given of this much of money." So is it not unfair, friends? Friends, now one major shortcoming of capitalism with competition is unfair competition. What is the next such pitfall that plague this capitalism with competition? The second thing is capitalism with competition always non-exploitative? This is a question that we need to pose ourselves. No. Friends, let us take whatever we talk, capitalism with competition, perhaps capitalism with competition not being exploitative holds good in the scenario of perfect competition. What is perfect competition? Unlimited number of buyers and unlimited number of sellers. Maybe in terms of, in such scenarios, it may work. But most of our businesses, the sectors that spearhead the economy, most of them are oligopolies. They are not perfect competition. What is oligopoly? Fewer sellers, more buyers. That means finally the competition is between only handful of companies or capitalists. When the competition is with only amongst a handful of people, then the system can become exploitative. Friends, another caution I want to sound you here. Don't assume that you have to just mention perfect competition and oligopoly. It is better to give their meanings in the bracket also. So let us make the essay as self-understanding as possible. So thus, in oligopolistic markets, the chances of competition wiping out the exploitation completely is very less. Maybe that is true for perfect competition. Then the second thing is informal cartelization. Friends, when in oligopoly markets, when there are only a few handful of companies, they can very well come to an informal understanding, and they can very well ensure that all of their interests are protected. That informal cartelization is very well possible. Maybe they will all have an informal agreement that none of them will slash the prices below this much. Okay, this is what happens amongst so many auto unions also, friends. Even in the when we take the auto, there are some 10 autos standing there. You want to go to a place where, for which during normal course the charge is say 30 rupees. But say all of them will tell you that they will come only at 35 or 40 rupees. Since all of them will say that we will come at 40 rupees, since all of them have an informal understanding, you are forced to get into any of them, and finally you are forced to pay higher price. So, thus informal cartelization is very much possible even though there is competition. Next is inherent profit motive. Friends, any business entity for that matter whose objective is to make as much profit as possible, the mere fact that they have to make profits leads to so much of exploitation. That's an innate, inherent trait of capitalist system. Okay, so that means even if three persons want to, the three competitors are there in the market, all of them will try to make profit only. Then non-realization of economies of scale. Friends, this is a very tricky point. See what it says, when there is so much competition, that means there is so much scattered production. Scattered production means the scale also gets divided and scattered amongst many companies. When the scale gets scattered, then they will not be able to realize the economies of scale. What is economy of scale? I hope all of you are aware. when you produce, when you expand your production capacity, the fixed cost component gets spread across many units, thus the unit cost comes down, thus the prices also come down. This is the concept of economies of scale. Now since more players are there, they cannot come together, then the production capacities get scattered, thus the non-economies of scale don't get realized, thus the cost of the product remains higher, and finally the consumer gets the commodity at a higher price. So that is, thus even with competition, because of non-realization of economies of scale, the cost of the products remain higher, leading to higher prices and exploitation of customers. Next comes capitalism versus right to life. Friends, under capitalism, every product is a commodity to be sold and bought. Thus, let us say every individual has a right to clean water. Every individual has right to electricity, because all of these things are some basic essentials that will make a life of an individual meaningful and livable. But what capitalism does, assume that clean water is also traded as a commodity. Assume that electricity is also traded as a commodity in a capitalist market by competitors. Then definitely they will provide that commodity to only those people who would pay for them. If some individuals are unable to pay for them, then they will be deprived of that clean water, they will be deprived of that electricity, in turn they will be deprived of a right to dignified life. So is this not exploitation, friends? How can you commodify water? Can anybody manufacture water? No, right? Water gets created by nature, so everyone is entitled to it. And this is the problem with the mineral water business also, friends. Most of the individuals cannot purchase purified RO water. That has also been commodified. So thus only those who can pay, they are getting that water, and that their right to dignified life gets reinforced. But what about persons who cannot afford to pay for RO water, who cannot afford to pay for say mineral water? Then they are being denied of the same. This is because of capitalism. And competition is definitely not helping in wiping out or ameliorating this exploitation. Then friends, the last one is no universal accessibility. I want to give you the example of nationalization of banks, friends, before 1969. Why did government decide to nationalize the banks? Because those banks were giving loans only for the rich people who had the ability to pay back. Thus, vast majority of the citizens, small and marginal farmers, small businesses who really wanted money for their farming activities, money for their small businesses, were denied of this because of their low borrowing capacity, and thus the economy was not at all growing. In a way, they were being exploited by an informal sector in the name of money lenders, unscrupulous money lenders. So thus the government nationalized all the banks. Thus, friends, the problem with capitalism is, even with competition, capitalism will not be accessible to everyone. So friends, before we move on, I just want to tell you, friends, these are some of the points why even competition cannot wipe out or cannot totally eradicate the exploitation that is inherent in the capitalism. Okay friends, now hitherto we have discussed how competition can reduce or eradicate, can reduce exploitation in the capitalism. Then we discussed about how, what if how unfair competition, though there is competition which is unfair, leads to exploitation of people. And then we have discussed how even competition is incompetent to totally eradicate the exploitation which is actually inherent in the design of capitalism itself. But having said that, now we have to give solutions to the two problems. Problem one is unfair competition. Problem two is inherent exploitation that cannot be wiped out by competition. So what are such solutions for them? Number one is So we have to promote fair competition. It is done through competition commission. We know monopolistic. I mean, we have in India, we have by the act of by Competition Act 2002, competition commission has been constituted, where any attempt to thwart fair competition, I mean, the other party can go and file a case, and they can get an order in his favor. Then there is a need to set up fast track courts for business disputes, for resolution of business disputes, so that the tendency of a capitalist to slap unwarranted unnecessary cases on the competitor would come down. Then we have to strengthen the ad regulator, so that there will be no negative propaganda against opponent, and also there will be no false claims. Then we have to rationalize the labor laws, so that the laborers don't get exploited. Now friends, hitherto we discussed about how to improve fair competition and reduce unfair competition that will lead to exploitation of customers. And the second solution, I mean, problem to the second solution, that is exploitation that is inherent in the capitalism, which cannot be wiped out by regular competition, is state monopoly. State monopoly is, for example, take water, friends. Now drinking water is purified and supplied to every household by, say, water supply boards and even urban local bodies. There, the two advantages are associated with this. Advantage number one, since these urban local bodies and water supply boards are government, and their motive is not to maximize profits, they will not overcharge. Thus, the price remains very low and affordable to most of the citizens. Second thing is, since the government has a moral responsibility to serve each and every individual, they will make all the efforts to make these services available, accessible to every section of society, even to the depressed classes, poorer sections, etc., etc., etc. Thus, the accessibility also improves. So, similar is the case with electricity, friends. So, friends, thus, now we have come to the final stage, that is conclusion. Thus, from the above discussion, we can very well conclude that competition can reduce, if not eradicate, total exploitation in capitalism. However, this competition, coupled with promotion of fair competition and also state monopoly in terms of essentials that are needed and necessary for every individual, the exploitation in the capitalism will totally get eradicated or reduced. So this is the conclusion that we can very well give, friends. Anyway, friends, thank you so much. Hope I have made sense. All the best.